What is good, you guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and today we're going to do my $300 budget computer. Now, just to kick this thing off right away, $300 is what I paid for this thing. Chances are prices might be different for you depending on where you go and the kind of deals you find. This was not bought brand new. In fact, all but about 2 or 3 parts were bought brand new. But if you are a smart shopper and are willing to take somewhat of a risk, I mean, eBay's buyer protection policy is pretty good, so it's not even too risky. Chances are you'll either get a working product or your money back with, I mean, a little bit of a headache, but it's, once again, if it saves you $100 like it has me several times. I have a total of 4 graphics cards I've purchased off eBay and never had an issue with them. So anyways, we're gonna hop right into this. So the first thing we have is an Intel Core i3 4130 that is in this rig. Now this wasn't necessarily built for complete budget, like, oh, you can take PC Parts Picker and this is just a amazing running computer for the price. And while it is, you can definitely do better with moving certain things around, but some of the parts you're going to be like, this would be better if you left this out and put money towards that. And while that being true, I have it in this computer, so that's why I put it in the list. I'm literally putting everything in this computer for the most part in this list, besides the 2 terabyte hard drive, because that's a bit overpriced when 1 terabyte will do just fine and save a lot more money. There's no need to have a 2 terabyte. But anyway, so the first thing is the i3 4130 3.4 gigahertz dual core processor, LGA 1150 socket, your standard Intel dual core. It'll run great, keeps up with the Pentium G at 4.7 gigs, no problem whatsoever. I found that in games, some games, the Pentium G works a little bit better. In some games, the i3 works a little bit better, but it's a very marginal difference, so it's really not going to matter. But for the most part, with like GTA and stuff, the i3 stays a good 10 to 20 frames per second faster, so it's definitely a plus. And it's hyper-threaded, so, you know, better than the Pentium, and also twice the price. So we're looking for brand new about $113.99 from SuperBiz with free shipping, which isn't too bad, but when you can get the Pentium G for half the price, it does seem a lot more appealing. Next we have is the motherboard. We have an MSI B85 G-43 Micro ATX motherboard that is inside here as well. Now this motherboard's good for the fact that it's got 4 RAM slots, so you know, definitely nice for future expandability. It's got 6 USB ports. It's definitely helpful. SATA 3 and you know, all the other stuff, you know, main features you would want for this generation of computers right now. And it'll overall just get the job done. If you got a Pentium G, you can definitely overclock on this motherboard, and it's just a little bit better than their H81's motherboard, so it's got a little bit more features, better stuff like that. Now, because this is a locked processor, no overclocking and stuff, it doesn't matter what kind of motherboard you got, but once again, this one's about $69.99 to $70, and you could definitely go cheaper, but that's what I have in here, so that's why I picked it. And up next we have the memory, which is basically what I do is I just find 8 gigs of RAM that's cheapest. So we're looking at about anywhere from $50 to $60 depending on which one you want. I was able to pick up 8 gigs of Crucial Ballistix memory on sale for $52, so I grabbed it. I kind of wish I had paid $2 more and got RAM that was blue, especially for the fact that I got the 8 gigs of RAM and one of the sticks was bad. The PC would not boot. So right now this has only got 4 gigs of Kingston memory that I'm using to just keep it running. But I had to send the 8 gigs back to Newegg and get basically RMA it because it was dead on arrival. So that's kind of sad. It's been taking a while because of Memorial Day weekend. So it's kind of delayed the video, but I said, you know what, screw it. I don't need the RAM to make the video. So right now, like I said, it's not in there, but 8 gigs of RAM, just pick some. It's got 4 slots, so you can definitely do dual channel for 8 gigs. You don't have to just buy one big 8 gig stick, because chances are you're not going to be putting 32 gigs of RAM in this thing, and if you do, you're going overkill and spending way too much money on something you shouldn't. Next is the SSD. Now this has an SSD in it. It's only a 32 gig, which is enough for your OS and a few programs that you would use to boot your computer. This one's looking at about $30, $35. For $60, you can get yourself a 120 gig, sometimes even 50. But to save the extra 20 bucks, not to mention that's what I have in here, I just picked a Crucial V4 32 gig 2.5 inch SSD, which, like I said, will get the job done for your boot and make your computer turn on really fast, which is a good thing. Next is the hard drive. Now in here I have a Segate Barracuda 2 terabyte hard drive. I just picked a Segate Barracuda 1 terabyte because 2 terabytes is about $30 to $40 more depending on where you go, and you won't necessarily need that much space for the most part. I save tons of videos to my computer and all sorts of other stuff. I have probably like a terabyte worth of videos, and not counting any videos though, I probably only have like a couple hundred gigs worth of stuff on my computer. So 1 terabyte will be more than enough, and definitely enough to get you started, and there's no sense wasting money on other stuff since this build is already about $550 total if you want to buy it brand new. But I will show you guys how you can get parts cheaper here and there and things to look up for to hopefully save you some money if you don't mind buying things used or refurbished or open box. Next we have is the graphics card. It's a PowerColor Radeon R9 270. Now I have a MSI R9 270 twin frozer. I paid only $100 for mine. I got it off eBay. It was basically brand new. It came in the box. It still had the stickers on it, like the clear peel labels that cover the stickers and stuff. It still had those on it. The card works just fine. It's the third MSI 270 I've bought off of eBay, so it, no issues on it. Like I said, and if it was an issue, I'd just get my money back. So we're looking at about $149.99 with $2 shipping from Newegg, and there's also a $20 mail-in rebate, which you should take advantage of. Now people might be saying, well, you have an MSI and Turbo Duo PowerColor, they're not going to perform the same, but they basically will perform the same. I have a video up, if you guys don't know, where I take a PowerColor and I take an MSI 270X and I see which one's better. PowerColor wins by about a few frames per second because it was overclocked higher. That is literally the only reason. It was overclocked slightly higher. And the MSI stayed a lot cooler and quieter, and that is because it was underclocked. You know what I mean? So they're going to even out the same. 270X, 270X, 270 is a 270. It doesn't matter. So PowerColor picked it because it was the cheapest one, but you can always spend an extra $10 to $20 if you want something that looks a little bit better or something that looks a little different or with a better cooling solution. Next is the power supply. Now we have an EVGA 430 watt 80 plus certified ATX power supply. It's EVGA 80 plus certified. I always pick them. We're looking at $34.99 with the $10 mail-in rebate, but I don't count those, so it's not a bad price. Now within this one I have a let me get the box right here. We have a Raid Max 350 watt. Now a lot of people might be questioning, why would you put a 270 on a 350 watt? Now I agree, I don't think you should do that. That's not a good idea, but because I have a YouTube channel and I can test these things out, I did it. So from the wall at idle, this thing barely even reaches 150 from the wall, if even that. Maybe like 112, and under full load I hit 280, so we're still definitely under. Now I was like, oh, it's seeming to handle this 280 no problem, 300 watts no problem, let's throw a 270X in there, which I did. It pulled 390 watts from the wall for about 15 minutes. Then I stopped it, but it was going fine. The power supply didn't even get hot. So luckily for me, this thing can pull 400 watts from the wall no problem. That's not always the case, but this one is just fine doing it. Now I could buy this same power supply and hope it pulls 400, and it won't. You know what I mean? I just got lucky. The one I have in there is good and has no problem doing it. Not to mention the 270 doesn't pull a whole lot of power. I don't overclock it. It's not going to get overclocked. It runs just fine how it is. But I shot it over a little bit because I don't think that you can get away and get as lucky as I can have with this. Now Lepa is definitely working their way up on my list, as well as DIY. That's the case right there we'll go over. But they're definitely working their way up as far as trustworthy with me, because like they're 350 watts pulling 400 from the wall no problem. And this thing stays cool and quiet. So the whole time I had it pulling from the wall, it was silent, and it was like blowing out air. It was like 36 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cool for something that's getting overworked for, you know, extended period of time. So with the 270 though, it never breaks 300, so I'm not worried about it. But I wouldn't suggest doing it. I'd stick with this 430 watt because it costs about the same price as one of these. If you are going to get something like a 260X or a 750 Ti, I do know that NCIX has this exact power supply on sale for $24 right now. Now, I was able to get this thing for 20 bucks. It was open box at Fry's Electronics, $20. That's why I bought it. I bought it before I even had this computer, and I just decided I was going to use it because the 270 doesn't pull a lot. Well, actually, I decided to use it when I got the i3, and I was like, you know what? I can stick in 270 in here, I'm pretty sure, and get away with it. So I actually bought the 270 thinking, like, instead of an X, if I had a 400, 500 watt, I probably would have went with the 270X. But because I only had a 350, I wanted to keep it safe and make sure that it stays under that margin and doesn't overwork too much and lasts a good while. So next we have the case is the DIY N8BK black USB 3.0 micro ATX mini tower case. So it's super tiny. It's about this tall as your standard case. I think the dimensions are, hold on, let's see right here. Dimensions are about 8 inches wide, like, or 8 inches by 14.6 by 14.6. So it is fairly small. I mean, it's definitely shorter than like something like a Phantom case, like Phantom 240 or something, but it's still, you know, bigger than like a Thermaltake Core V1. It only supports micro ATX and mini ITX motherboards, but this case is awesome. It is $49.99 or $39.99, I'm sorry, with free shipping from Newegg, and its build quality is just amazing. It's way stronger than the BitPhoenix case I have. Cable management is a breeze because it's got the popped out sides. It's got a nice tinted window. Comes with 2 LED fans, and then on the top there's a switch that allows you to turn the LEDs on and off. So the fans will keep running, but as we can see here, let me find the switch without turning the computer off. Fans are still going, but wait, are they? Okay, I think that turns the fans off. I'm not really sure though. Let me see. Yeah, it turns the fans off. That's kind of sad, it turns the fans off. But either way, if your computer's not even working hard, you can turn them off. So it doesn't really matter. But you can turn the LEDs off if you want, or you can keep them on, or you can replace the fans. But it does come with 2 of them. And it's definitely got this this Phantom look, this NZXT Phantom look, definitely. And that's one of the main reasons I grabbed it. So we have support for a 240 mil radiator up front. There's only support for 2 hard drives, but with some modding, you could definitely get 3 in there. Actually, I think there was a mount for a SSD or a 2.5-inch hard drive on the back, and then there's one on the top of the drive cages. So that's a total of 2 2.5s with 2 3.5. So that's more than enough hard drives for your standard user. Definitely nice. So the fans are fairly quiet. This computer's not very loud. It's been running the whole time I've been filming this video. And like I said, cable management and just the overall build quality, like this case is just nice and rigid and firm. Now my gripes with it is it's glossy, so it attracts dust and fingerprints, but no regrets whatsoever. I honestly wish I had a micro ATX motherboard because I'd be putting one of these for my main computer, because like I said, between the size and how it looks, it's really nice. So that's the case for you guys. Maybe I'll do a review on it if enough people really like it, because there isn't really any reviews on this case, and I think this case deserves a lot more attention because it's definitely in the budget realm for that deep cool Tesseract. Now, it doesn't support a full-size ATX, but if you're only building a micro ATX computer, you don't need a full-size ATX. And honestly, with micro ATX nowadays, they offer almost every single feature that you would find on a regular sized ATX if you have the money to spend. So that's the gaming computer for you guys that I did. So if you guys want to know how much I paid for this, $284 total. I spent $54 on the RAM, which I wish I didn't because it's broken and it's not blue, and this computer's blue. I spent $54 on the RAM. I got the power supply for $20, And I got, what else did I get? I had to buy some. The case was 40. So far 60 plus 54, we're at 114. And then I had to buy the graphics card, which cost me $100 even, $85, $15 shipping off of eBay. So that puts us at 214. And then I spent $70 for the CPU, the motherboard, the 2TB hard drive, the 32 gig SSD, and he gave me 4 gigs of RAM and a computer case and another power supply that I'm not using, but I'm not including those. So basically I spent $284 for this. There was a guy on Craigslist. That's another place you guys can look, is Craigslist, but be careful because people can be scandalous. This guy, he was a really nice guy. He just moved into town and needed money for his car, and he didn't have start his job yet, so he was like fairly desperate for some money. So he took $70 for an i3, 4 gigs of RAM, and a nice MSI motherboard, and some other stuff. The 2TB hard drive was a really nice deal with it, as well as it had an SSD already. So for me, I was able to build a very, very much so outperforming PC of a console. Like, this thing will tear a console in half, and it was cheaper than a console. Like, a lot cheaper than a console. So there you guys go. That's my super cheap budget gaming PC. If you guys want, I'll do a little annotation. The video's been out for about a week already, but you could see how the PC performs, and overall the benchmarking I did on it. I threw it up first because that video was easier to make, and I was trying to get the RAM, but I didn't get it. So anyways, you guys, that's it. That's my super cheap budget build. There hopefully will be more in the future. I'm going to try and sell this one and get enough money to do another budget build. That way it fuels itself, because honestly my pockets aren't that deep. So anyways, you guys, this is Steven with All Talk On, and I'll catch you guys later.